All right, so we're here again at the Grand National Truck Show, and we're here with the Trendsetter of the Year, Dino. You know him, Dino's Get Down, that giant truck show in Arizona, Mr. 60 to 66. I'm still trying to remember who came up with that.
I like
term.
that too. Somebody did on the truck forum, I think.
Okay.
And man, that was a good one. I like that a lot. That was cool because the truth is, those are my favorite trucks. I'm now be 63. And since I was 14, I've never not had a 60 truck.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how many do you think you've had of the 60 to 66 variety?
A lot. I'm probably an over-exaggerator, so I could say 1 million. But
I think there's only maybe maybe there's that many made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, probably 30. Probably something 30.
Yeah.
Something.
And you've had some different variety of them as well, from like your Pro Street to like a crew cab to a dually to
off-road
a single
truck.
cab. Oh, you even have an off-road version.
Yeah, I did 2 long travel trucks that were phony baloney. Kevin Grunion has one still that I built.
Oh, nice.
Well, actually, he built it. I built it in my backyard, and then Kevin tuned it all up.
Yeah.
Right.
And made it really actually functional. It was like static, but yeah, I mean, I like what I like, so I build what I like.
Yeah.
And as the scenes progressed, and before the sky was the limit. Now you're looking at $1 million+ trucks, right?
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? But at the same time, that's one of the good things, if I can plug the event, is there's a hat for every head. That's the cool thing. Like the Triple Crown just jumped off. That was an amazing show. All that stuff. And it was the top foam of everything that's out there. But the nice part is that the event that we have is for welcome for anybody at any level, right?
And that's what we've always seen, even from going back to I don't think either of us went to the very first one that was at your house.
Right. It was at my house.
But we were, at the shop for a few years.
Yeah.
And remember, you was always just welcoming, inviting, feeding everybody, whether it was meatball subs or pizza.
Sometimes people just came for the food. You were like one of my first fancy celebrity guys from a magazine type of situation. You know what I mean?
Well, I know Kevin Whips went and shot the first year at the deal, and then it was like, okay, well, hey, let's go out for Good Guy Scottsdale and stop by Dino's.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it became, let's just go to Dino's. I think there was one time where we went to your, when you had it at the shop, went to Scottsdale the next morning. We did the cruise out there. You guys had the cruise from the shop. Walked around there, made like one lap, and then we went and saw a movie.
Right. It wasn't fun, so we were like, all right,
all right, cool. We're good.
Well, I get it. I mean, sometimes.
But it just grew into that, and what is cool still is you have it where it's free for entries, free for people to take their trucks in.
Yeah.
Obviously you have the vendors that are and sponsors that are supporting you and supporting the truck scene, but that just makes it inviting for everybody to have a good time. And it's kind of cool that it's kind of still has that vibe and still stuck to that a little bit as much as you can.
And it's crazy because I'm still really about this whole scene, and how that sounds corny to use the word scene, but the truth is I'm still super passionate. I love trucks. I love
we've all been in trucks.
So that's the thing. I mean, yes, go to Dino's, definitely. I want to know, who are your influencers? Like, because here's the thing.
Yeah, why did you gravitate towards
because I'm kind of a Pro Street liker as well. Yeah. I'm a fan of Pro Street, but I think that might be my age. But I like the fact that you're still willing to take that chance. Like, a lot of guys would be like, oh, why did he do that to that truck? Mm-hmm. So who are the guys that you kind of like, hey, man, I just wanted to be like that guy?
Well, it was like Pete and Jake's. I mean, you think about that 46 Ford they put out there, the fat fendered car.
Yeah,
right.
And so some of that stuff's, of course, Justin over at Scott's, he was an early guy that was building crazy stuff. And I've always really liked building what I like. So Pro Street, still, no matter what, even though I'm building 2 right now, which and now we're bringing S10s back. Wait,
right.
You got the square body S10.
So I took all the parts off that Pro Street truck, my 64, and then I stuffed them into that S10, so it's going to be super cool.
Right.
But the truth is,
all the power in a smaller package.
Oh, it's just going to be, and it's just, I mean, why not have 42 inches of tire and a 48-inch wide truck?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. So I would say that the truth was, the magazines. I mean, like back then, and I'm so stoked that magazines, the print is still alive, right? But when I was a kid back in the day, you got a magazine, you got the center cover, you got the center fold out, you took it out, you stapled it to your wall,
right?
And you had a stack of magazines, and it was like, and it was just always the push, styling concept.
endless inspiration, endless content to kind of
man.
go back to a little bit.
And so I collected, so many different magazine cars and stuff like that. And then the 67 to 72 truck side, it was something.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, thank God for that, because honestly, if there wasn't cars on the internet, I wouldn't know how to use any of it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm like a tractor with that stuff.
You started working on it, or started going on there to see the trucks.
Yeah,
and see
so
the cars,
I went in there. When I first started with those guys, there wasn't even a forum site. It was the 67 to 72, and that was it. There was no 60 to 66.
Yeah.
And then
That's
they
true.
added it.
Yeah.
And then, and then I was trying to figure out how to use it and all the rest of that stuff. So it was really fun. One of the things, too, that I liked was it made me really want to work on my car so I could show off this cool stuff I was building.
Exactly.
So it pushed me. And,
it gave you motivation to
Yes.
do it. Yeah.
I get a lot of pleasure out of when people say, dude, we're trying to get my truck done for your event.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you like that inspires or motivates somebody to say, I want to get my truck to your event, because that's what I wanted to do all the time, man. I mean, you would grind and get your stuff out there. And a lot of times, I didn't have all the financial resources, so you were hustling, making parts, doing whatever you were doing. I mean, all kinds of junk. And that has spawned, you think about, this is kind of boastful, but I think about the truck forum site, the Get Down. We have spawned so many business. I mean,
absolutely. No, you're right. Yeah.
Order built. You think about, me and Nate, and back in the day when we, and all this stuff, and you think about all these events that came after, look how cool Terry, and we're all great family guys,
right?
We all love to see each other do good. C-10s in the park. That's another awesome show.
It's kind of, it's supporting your internal network that's been created around it, and it's kind of, seen at the time. We were pushing the C-10 stuff as you were pushing it,
right?
And seeing.
I remember your GMC and all
and,
that
and
stuff.
we were going to a lot of the, meeting with companies that were doing hot rod and muscle car stuff.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
like, hey, you need to start making C-10 parts, because that's what's going to help fuel it
man.
and grow it. And it's kind of like, if everybody starts pushing from all angles, it turns into what it is now.
Well, another big guy like Ronnie, C-10 Top.
Yeah.
Look at this guy, a podcast monster. I remember when I first met Ronnie. First of all, me and him could talk the wheels off you. I mean, I would get done talking. I wouldn't talk for a week. But Ronnie came to me and he was like, hey, I want to put you on this podcast. The truth was, I had no idea what he was talking about.
You were the first
I was the first guy.
episode. Yeah.
I had no idea what he was talking about. I'm like, sure, man. I really thought it had some kind of iPod thing. I had no idea what he was talking about.
I mean, that's kind of back then. That was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So that was,
it was actually 14 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Thinking
it was 13. I did it the very first year. No. Yeah, it was 14
because I remember
years ago.
him talking about it at the Brothers show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
as
because
like launching it and stuff
we
like that.
didn't do it the first. We didn't do it our first one. We did it at the second one, and he came over, and then I said, "Oh," he says, "We're just going to talk on the radio. I mean, we're just going to talk and tell about
just
stuff."
record it. Yeah.
And I remember the first time. So he works, I work late. So it was like 8 o'clock. He came over to the shop, and me and him yapped and talked till like 1 a.m. And then he got home and found out the microphone wasn't on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I wonder how long the first episode is, but if it wasn't recording.
So then,
all right.
So he goes, Dino, he goes, Dino, he goes, you're not going to believe this, man. I didn't record. I said, well, come back tomorrow night. We'll do it.
I was going to say, you guys probably weren't too worried about redoing it again
Oh
and
my
talking
God,
more.
because I spew out so much verbal diarrhea all the time. Like I can just, unfortunately, it's one of the things that I can yap about, and I'm passionate about the car stuff. So we really had a good time. And so and now you look forward, you think about what Ronnie's done and pushed these things and all these businesses that sprout out around look at Barrett Jackson. These trucks now, before they would snub your nose.
Oh, yeah.
Even good guys did.
Right.
We roll
Well, no,
in.
good guys, especially even the square body years.
They were like, no.
And even then it's like, and just park them in the back.
They were like, I remember coming in there, mobbing in there with my crew cab and that big giant stereo.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, but you don't get it. And one of the best aha moments I have at Good Guys was when I came in with the dually, my first crew cab, my single cab dually, and it was like my favorite truck. It's the one that got away. But mobbing those semi wheels, and we made those fenders and rolling in, and I'd park up on the top deck, and there were some super high end cars, and everybody just went, went right over to, and it was patinaed.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So it was one of those moments that I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And that's
This
the thing
is
too.
exciting.
A lot of times when you go into those shows, you bring something a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're getting that attention.
Well, the other thing too, I mean, what I think is so fun about this is that I deal with a lot of, like, my wife's in the medical industry, so she has nothing to do with automotive. And of course, when we go to another meeting or something like that, or another dinner, I'm going with different people that have no idea about cars. They don't know what I do, nothing.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that I've been to some of these dinners where people have walked up to me and somebody might be sporting like a syndicate hat.
Yeah,
and I kind of look and kind of, do
That's
that.
pretty cool.
Or like the guy, like this
Like
one.
we know. Yeah.
Yeah, like,
you know,
it's
we
one of
know.
those, like, like that.
Yeah.
But then, like, people start kind of talking and like, oh, have you been to Dino's? I'm like, yeah, I've been to Dino's. And they're like, oh, that's cool. Like, yeah. Have you ever got to meet the guy? And I'm like, yeah, I've done him a handful of times. Like, and they're like, man, I just want to go to meet the guy. And I always think it's so funny because I'm just like, dude, do we need to have a throne where they come and kiss the ring? Like, it's kind of whatever.
It's funny. I still get a kick. I picked up my kid from Australia last weekend at the airport, and then me and Terry were just standing there.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I hear this, Dino. He got off the plane, chucked me a deuce.
Yeah.
And he had a shirt on. I was like,
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
And I don't know where he came from, but he was in the airport.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things that is, like, honestly, it's like, listen, the truth is I've been fortunate enough to be in some magazines, and I'm really stoked. And every time I do, it's the biggest deal because as a kid, to get your car in a magazine was everything, man. I mean,
it was like immortalized.
I tell this story all the time. Like, I remember going to the grocery store and when my car would be in a magazine, and I'd buy like the whole stack.
Yeah, of course. Or
then
we did that too.
I
did that with my truck in the first time it was in a magazine. My truck was at his open house for Linex.
Yeah.
They had a Christmas show, and I bought 3 copies of it, and it was that big.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I went through that, and I was hoping the cashier would say, wow, you like this magazine? She didn't say anything. I was like, dang it.
Yeah.
So finally, I get to be on the cover, right?
Right.
So it's me on the front of the magazine.
Yeah.
So
it's
like,
you would
actually
figure.
I'm super
your
firm.
face on there.
I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be that moment where I show up and I'm like,
Yeah.
I lay them out like a fan.
Right.
Well, what happens? They're all self-checkouts.
Oh.
At the time,
I go, dude, you gotta be kidding me, man.
Dude,
I
holding
was
up
like,
to the camera.
I was
right
like,
there, like, hey,
Yeah.
doesn't somebody? I was like, oh my God, dude. I just laughed about it too because I got there, because you go to 9 stores.
Yeah.
And finally, I was like, got him. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be clutch. Oh my God, look at
Yeah.
and just
Self-checkout.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
damn.
but now I've got people that are young kids that are coming up to me going like, hey, are you going to Dino's?
Oh, you
And
love
I kind
that.
of look at that like that now is the magazine cover. Like,
That's
to
and
be
you know,
seen
it's
there.
kind of having that destination.
Yeah.
Of that.
I would say one of the things about the event is that there's a hat for every head.
Yeah.
I think that a couple things that we've done, we've literally cultivated this. I'll learn something next year and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do this. Like, we do this thing that I think is super clutch that I made it like and I say we, like it's like a grocery store. You want to see all the wheels? Boom, here's 2 aisles of wheels.
Right.
Now the wheel guy is not
yeah.
behind somebody. You want to see all the chassis, which this year, wait till
There's
you see
a lot
the
of chassis companies that have
Acme,
popped
I mean,
up.
you
Yeah.
name it. Acme's never been out here, so I'm super excited to have those guys. Of
Right.
course, a lot of our same people, Roaster Shop, you
Yeah.
know, all those guys that are, and when a Roaster Shop shows up, dude, honestly, it's like the Disneyland feeling. But anyways,
Yeah.
So we put it all in like builders. So then if you're a garage setting, like we had a tool guy out last year, we had a lift guy out, we have
Smart.
a little bit of everything. But the idea is that you're not walking down aisles that you may or may not want to walk down.
or miss something.
Exactly
right.
right. Because they were like, oh, you guys, great. You put me back over here. So we put it all like product. Now, some guys at first
They're
felt
like, then I'm on the competition next to
they're
me
like,
or something like
and I'm
that.
like, well, bring your game, dude. First of
Yeah.
all,
Right.
everybody, we don't ever put anybody who doesn't like each other.
Well,
We'll
yeah,
put
you
a
don't do
space,
that.
right? We don't ever, I
Right.
don't want it to be like that.
you,
Yeah.
you don't want to be the mediator
Yeah,
between
exactly.
them. And,
So,
Yeah.
we kind of do that. But at the same time, everybody that's in the industry loves that same fact that they're like, hey, and then our job is to pack that place full of people.
Right.
Yeah.
And even though
Absolutely
I get a
does.
lot, it's so funny, I get a lot of static about, why don't you guys charge? And I'm like, you should have your own event. I always
Yeah.
tell people all the time, I go, listen, we have a good formula right now.
yeah.
We have a very good price, way below our competitors on a booth space. We get a number of what the venue costs. And the thing about for me that I hate is I don't want to go to a car show and I don't want to say anything poorly about anybody, but I don't want to pay this much to get in and then I have to pay to park.
Right. I know.
And
it
I'm like,
sucks.
come on,
Yeah,
man. Like,
I know.
so that's why when we rent that facility, we get them to throw in
The parking.
the
too?
parking.
Yeah.
So, like,
And that helps to draw even
Yeah.
more numbers that then benefit the
Well-
vendors. It's like it's kind of a
coming to
rolling
a
thing.
car
You
show
just got to make it sure it figures
that's
out.
free and having to pay to park is like wiping your butt before you poop. That doesn't make any sense. I'm
Right.
like, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
So and I don't do all this for like, oh, I'm just this cool guy. We have just figured it out, right? So the idea is that we figured out what it cost us for everything. And this year's a little bit more because, they did some numbers. We had a lot of people in last year. We had a lot of trucks. So got to have more security, more this, more this.
more
more everything, right?
Right?
More restaurants, more food. Okay, so we're like, okay, so this year we have 200. Wait, Terry, is it 249 vendors? How many vendors? 249 vendors, which I tried to hold her back.
Wow.
And first of all, that wakes me up in the middle of the night all the time. Like, Jesus.
That's a lot
I think about what we have to
organize.
do.
Yeah,
it's a lot. And, we have a little bit of a system, but like, come on, man, it's 60 days out.
Right.
You look at the ceiling fan at 3 a.m. a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, and you don't want to disappoint anybody, but so that part of it, we just keep cultivating. So we figured it out so far. So we don't have anything broken on that part of it. Now, something that we are working on, and I think we even have a date in February of 2025. We're going to do Ford versus Chevy.
Oh, that's smart.
And the two Dodge guys. Because everybody knows two Dodge guys. So
they're the mascot.
Humberto, if you're listening, you got to show up, dude.
Yeah,
You got the baddest Dodge on the planet.
Right.
So if you're still rocking your stock stereo system, you need some help. And you need to go to Powerbase and check out their OEM direct fit line of speakers. Basically a plug and play operation on any newer Chevy, Ford, Dodge, Nissan, you name it. And I actually got a full set in my Toyota 4Runner. It sounds amazing, especially considering you're basically just replacing the factory speakers. So go check them out at powerbaseusa.com. Use the code AutoRev24 and you can get 10% off anything on the site, including these cool little Bluetooth speakers. This one right here is the Sound Cube. Clip it on your backpack, take it down to the beach. And what's really cool is this split speaker. So you can put one in the kitchen, one in the backyard at a party. Everyone's having a good time listening to the same music. Basically got like full stereo, almost surround sound system in this little package. So if you use the code AutoRev24, you can get 10% off. So go check them out and take a listen. So you've been following along on Auto Revolution. You know that we're a big fan of Chevy OBS trucks. And Beltec Suspension has been around for 40 years, and they were one of the first innovators of the sport truck movement back in the 80s. And we've been lucky with them to partner on a few different projects, from the OBS Clash documentary series to the Tahoe Unlimited, and even a few things that we've got up our sleeves coming out later this year. What's really cool is they've partnered with us to offer free shipping if you use the code AutoRevolution24 at Beltec.com. So whether it's a lowering kit on your Chevy or a lift kit on your Bronco or your Jeep, and if you use the code AutoRevolution24 at Beltec.com, you're going to get free shipping. Now back to the show.
The idea was going to be
We got
this.
We got a guy in Central California with a Dodge that's down there.
Now we're
It's really
talking.
nice. So
Yeah.
we
So
might
we'll
have three.
have a Ford dealership on this side, a Chevy dealership on this
That's
side.
pretty
We're going to
smart.
face all the cars. Now, we're not going to be like the Raiders and everybody
No, it's
being
not.
mad.
It's
It's going to
just
be something that we're going to
having
make it
fun.
like Terry likes to say, we're going to make it like a 4th of July celebration. It's going to
Yeah.
be about the brand and cars. Now, first year out, no vendors. Just bring your
Just car. Good idea.
And you Mustang guys don't hit the curb coming in.
That's true.
So is it car and truck?
Anything
Okay,
of
so
the
it's
product.
just
Ford
by the
versus
brand.
Chevy.
So
Ford
yeah,
versus
and
Chevy.
it was
Two
cool
Dodge
because
guys.
one of the VPs from Ford reached out to us and they were kind
Good.
of like checking into what we were doing.
Yeah.
And their scenes popping up. I mean, look at
it's
Fat
it's
Fender and these
growing.
guys are
Yeah,
building.
yeah,
some
yeah, they're-
athletes
There's a couple
building.
really
Yeah.
nice Fords out
Yeah.
here.
Oh
as
my
well,
gosh!
yeah.
And listen, the truth is, we all love cars.
Exactly.
I mean, we love cars, like the mini truck stuff and everything out here. I fiend for every bit of this. So this is just something we're gonna start, and then my mind's already spooled up. I'm thinking the next year, if we make this happen, then we'll have Ford vendors and Chevy vendors.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a really fun giant event. Of course, the Get Down will still be this. It'll still be this, and
Yeah.
we'll keep that here. And then we'll have this thing that everybody gets to come in.
That's really cool.
It's just
and enjoy
expanding what you're doing to other
Exactly.
markets that are
Well,
would have been maybe excluded. So
and
yeah,
that's good that you're bringing like camaraderie to this,
Yeah.
because that's like,
Yeah.
okay, one of my favorite things at your show is to go, I call it Thunderdome, where I hop the fence because
From the
usually-
vendor area.
From the vendor area, I hop the fence and I go to the parking lot,
Yeah.
because at night, like, there's people like they're doing it.
It's
They're-
tailgate- you're
It's
tailgating,
and they're
yeah.
doing. I mean, they got the carne asada going. They
Oh,
got
yeah, dude.
they're partying.
Music,
they're having a good
yeah.
time. But the thing about it is, everybody I've talked to, they're like, we're so excited that we got invited to this. And the word invite was really kind of
Yeah.
a word that I looked at. I was like, wow, you know
That's
what?
kind of a cool
I
way
was
to
like,
say
that's
it.
a cool way of saying it.
Yeah,
'Cause
it really
I just,
is.
because the same thing. I know you're just putting it out there. You're not like, actually like, hey, Jason, you need to go, right? But people
that's
are
to say they
feeling
feel
that way.
like
they feel like
part
this-
of
yes.
the event,
and
part
that's
of the
exactly.
family.
And it was one of the cool things I always think about Rocky Balboa when he talks about I invented this, that bullshit.
Right.
I always sorry if I said that, I couldn't say that word, but
Yeah.
so I said, I always think about one day I stood up there and we opened the gates and I gave everybody a pound, a dab, whatever you want to call that, touch, fist pump, whatever.
Yeah.
Or
Right.
shake their hand. And everybody, as they came through, I got to see everybody's car run.
Right.
And I smelt them. Holy
Yeah,
smokes.
yeah.
Some of them were a little-
Yeah, right.
But I
Tune
got
up.
to meet those people, get to take a picture.
Yeah.
But at that time, I got to see almost the whole car show, right?
Right.
So that was
Yeah.
something that was really something I said, man, I felt like I invented that. I laugh about that all the time.
Right.
But
You're the welcoming. Yeah.
it
you're
was
the,
so
Yeah,
cool
yeah.
that
The-
everybody
the-
came through.
the get down greeter.
Right. Yeah.
And then I think about, so last year, because on Saturday, we let cars come in. So we had the first gate on the south side. We filled it up. I moved up to the top gate. And on Saturday, we let cars come through.
Yeah.
Well, these people were driving right by me. And I was like, they were like, get out of the way. And I was like, and Terry finally goes, Dino, I don't think they know who you are.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're not in the truck crowd.
yeah.
They're the car guy.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
and
Like,
so
what
I
the
just
hell?
was like, okay, well,
Yeah.
but I mean, at the same time, the truth is, one of the things about the event that keeps me pushing is the respect that people show for the event.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of car shows, and at the end, the parking lot's annihilated.
Right.
We just ask everybody, hey, listen, and it still stays super family.
Yeah.
Clean up
Everybody's
after
respected.
yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's something that motivates me. There's a lot going on in the world, and this is still,
Yeah.
it's still a really
This
neat
is
thing,
super
you know what I
important.
mean?
Yeah. This is super important.
I get a lot. I'm trying to learn to be more in the moment of all that stuff, because you work on it all year long and you get in there and you're hustling and we're having a good time. And it's one of the things that we did. So at my old shop, my appliance shop, I merged and went to a bigger shop. So
Right.
I have my old appliance shop that you've been to.
Yeah.
You've been there.
Yeah.
And so that's now the Chevy only headquarters. It's the Get Down
Yeah.
headquarters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
Change
sense.
the signs, everything.
Yeah.
I put all of our apparel in there. So what we're going to do during the coming up, and I don't think we'll get it done before the Get Down, but I'm going to do some mini kickbacks there. So I'm going to text you and say, hey, 50 you guys can show, or maybe 40. 40 can show up, but only 40. Can't invite anybody else. This is just your opportunity.
This
because
kind of bringing it back a little bit.
we've
to
lost
the,
a little intimacy.
Right,
So
right,
like, I
the
see you
original.
guys. I'm like, hey, what's
No,
going on?
that's
I know,
it's
I
been
know.
like, hey,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly
totally.
right.
Yeah.
So, and I always feel bad because I want to catch up,
Yeah.
see what's
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
and I still
but
want
we
to
all
be
know, everything's
so
got to get handled.
You see us there and we're hustling. So we're going to do something. We have a friend that has a food truck. We're going to bring back something that people never got to see.
Yeah.
And I would love to invite everybody, but it'll be
I
a lot
know,
of people
it's-
there.
yeah.
So got to maintain the neighborhood. But
Yeah.
I want to do that. Why it's cooler and it's something to do. Bring your car out. It'll just be like a little mini something.
Yeah.
And just be able to have that intimacy back where we get to catch up with everybody,
Yeah.
see what's going on, blah, blah, blah.
And that's true too,
Yeah.
because I think that 10 years ago is when we started Auto Revolution, but obviously both of us were magazine editors, stuff
10
like yeah,
years ago.
right.
Wow.
And the thing that seems kind of hard is I do look back and go like, wow, we were like this group because
Yeah.
we weren't the new trucks and we weren't the lifted trucks or what was going on at that time. So the
Yeah.
C-10 scene was what, and that's why even too, look,
Yeah.
I grew up in LA, but we were going to Phoenix because the scene was going to Phoenix.
Yeah.
So it made sense. So it's kind of look at it this way, like we created this little community and
Yeah.
all of us throughout the last 10 years, same thing, like we haven't talked to each other for, walking
Yeah.
by, hey, what's up? But always when people are like, hey, tell me about Dino's. Oh, you need to do this, you do this. Like all of us are kind of pulled together to make this happen.
Sure.
Because I think all of us wanted to see that happen. But then last year when I went to your show and I did one of those like, put your head up and look around because you're not just talking to that same
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
And I jumped the fence and looked at that whole like Thunderdome
Yeah.
area. Talking to people, I was like, wow, this is a lot bigger than us.
Wow.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that it got this big, right? And now it's hard because same thing too. Like even seeing like Yezi or seeing, some of those
Yeah.
guys just walk, hey, what's up? But it hasn't been where we've been able to just really hang out and go, dude,
Yeah.
this has been a wild ride. Like I look back at when we were at Dell's place with your
Yeah.
Julie, like again,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was,
When we
That
did
was 10
yeah.
years
that was 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
I mean, I think about that. It's
yeah,
funny.
all the one and dones and stuff
Yeah.
we did. Like,
And most of these guys
Back
I
in
would
the day.
catch up and we'd all talk a couple times a week. We'd all catch up. There was a core group of us, Sam, that named the Get Down, by the way.
Yeah.
And, Yezi, of course, Ronnie,
Yeah.
Dell, and there was just a group of us that all, Johnny G, there was a group of us that all, I still talk to most of those guys, but
Yeah.
and of course, John Oro, the guy who really was one of those guys who really pushed this thing.
Right.
And
Yeah,
a great
pushed all the
ambassador,
C-10s.
right?
Yes.
So a guy
Yes.
who probably one of those kind of guys that you'd want to be a better man when you see John. You know what I mean? He's just one of those kind of guys. But the idea is that like it has, and so losing some of that, like you just don't get to catch up with people. So that's kind of the idea behind that was like,
I'm not take it back to the roots a little bit.
I'm not trying to reinvent them. I just want to kind of hang out with everybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just kind of want to be a little bit more relevant about what's going on in everybody's life, except for Instagram. You know what I mean?
Right. I know.
So, I mean, thank God we can catch up a little bit on that, which is a nice little snapshot. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you can consume so much time and not really even be in touch with anybody, right?
You're
like,
you're just checking out what they're doing, but maybe you're not talking to them.
Exactly right.
Like that,
you know what I mean? So that, I know that sounds a little like an old guy, but
no. I know.
No, but that's, I mean, it's kind of back to what we had said earlier of that. The Get Down in the early years had a certain vibe to it, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And while it's grown exponentially, that you've kept some part of that in there.
I would agree.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing because it has helped separate it from other shows. But now you're saying, you're like, hey, I want to kind of take it back for yourself a little bit, where you're just like running million miles an hour, and you want to just
people that I've met through this have enriched my life. I've met so many people. You guys, like people like you, not to anybody's harm, but the truth is, these are relationships that I've met. You know, the C-10 community. I'm a big Volkswagen guy. I love Volkswagen. But Volkswagen guys are like, look, I got 2 of these.
And you're not getting it. Yeah.
And you're never going to get it from me.
Yeah.
The C-10 guy goes, I have one. I'll come put it on for you.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
I mean, it's just, I've had so many fun times in my backyard we did a complete girl build. You know, we did that whole girl build.
Yeah.
We built a bunch of stuff in my backyard, those one and dones that Joey did.
Yeah.
And all kinds of stuff. I've had so much fun doing what I'm doing with this thing, and that it hasn't even become about the trucks anymore.
I know.
Really, I mean, it's
no,
all
it's
these
that's the thread that kind of connects it all together.
But
but
now
it's
the
all
trucks, like for the challenge is like, here's $1 million truck by Hot Rods by Dean's.
Right.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. You could spend 2 weeks looking at it and never catch everything
I
they're
agree.
doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
At the same time, there's an old Love, and I looked at that thing, and so it's really fun that you could still find the quality and the craftsmanship and different things. And then if you ever talk to Hot Rods, they're the most humble cats on the planet, right? So they're, you know, and they're like, but it still has that, you know. I'd agree with you that one of the most important things is that we continue to have the vibe that we do at the Get Down, and it's because we have these like-minded people that are the same, that feel the same way we do about stuff that we're doing. You know, and there's other cultures, you know, the lowrider crews. It's kind of funny how that all works out. You know, the bomb guys don't really like the Impala guys. Now that's a little bit different, but at the same time, there's a lot of them that click up. They cook all the time. Yeah. It's really about family and generations of cars. So I don't know. Like I said, if I wasn't into car stuff, I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, I know. I always think the same thing. I'm like, I don't watch sports. I don't, follow football. Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, if I don't do this, what would I do? Right? Yeah. Yeah. But it's also, again, it's fun that you offer that for other people to have that outlet as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's helped brought people together and create, like you said, create businesses and create lives, around it,
Never in a
essentially.
million years would I ever thought that this would have spun out to. But unfortunately, the truth about me is I'm a lead sled dog. I only know, like, I want to do better. I want to do better. I want to do better. Yeah. And that part of it. So, like, the event just started. We saw the appreciation from everybody. It just got me amped up to be like, it's never been, I want to be the biggest or any of that kind of stuff. And none of that. I've never cared about any of that. I've just cared about having this event that would just enrich us. As corny as that shit sounds, it just feels good, man. Yeah. It's super cool.
No, it's definitely kept that going. So at the Grand National Truck Show, you've had a chance to walk around a little bit.
Yes.
What's caught your eye and
oh, there was a bunch. So first of all,
anything that stood out.
I'm an old guy, so the Hot Rod by Boyd's, the chopped car.
Yeah.
The chopped GMC.
Back that OBS truck, that's cool. So I'm a throwback guy, so I've seen some of that stuff. There was a super sick Econoline.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
First of all, if anybody's ever built an Econoline, how do you do that?
Right. Yeah.
And that was super sick. This green 53 over here, 5-window.
Right.
And you see with the bed, the resin work and the bed.
And you see how he made the fenders long. And then all these different things like that back window, because that's not the right window. That's proportionate with the 5-window. The back window in those trucks are a
They're
little,
a little smaller.
Yeah,
right? So
that's
now
right.
he put that all. So there's so much stuff, and
Yeah,
there's
all the little details.
and there was a
different
super.
tricks.
I mean, listen, even though it's a little bit smaller, there's just so much good stuff here too.
Yeah,
Right.
the quality level
Yeah.
of the trucks.
And of course, this Ram truck has got me spun out. I love that thing a ton, and not because it was something, but it was just like I told him. I said, "You realize you built so many guys' dreams.
Right.
Like you know
well,
how many
he built it. This guy's always wanted.
I've
a
always
Ram
wanted a Ram
truck.
Oh
truck.
my god!
Always. Yeah.
And I, and I don't even care if I drove it. I mean, sometimes I like having cars.
Just to look at, right?
And I have them,
Hey,
you know
got
what I
that.
But you're
yeah.
saying that, and you didn't realize it at first that actually is your old truck.
I did not know it.
Yeah.
I walked up and I was telling Terry, I said, see this truck? I said, I built one of these a long time ago. And we started with GSI. They built the back half. A guy named Bird. Zaccardi did that truck. And I knew what I wanted. And I figured it out. And then blah, blah, blah. And that's when GSI first started out.
Yeah.
We started off, we built some, they were trying to build a new front end for it. They were pretty new at the time. I already had a different plan. They built it. It just didn't work the geometry wise. And for a budget I had, so we went back to a C-30. We stretched it wide, put it up there. I built that truck. I built a few 60s with that same, because those trucks have what they call,
Hold
Hang
on.
a sec, yeah. Okay.
I didn't
So
hear what
those-
he
I
said.
didn't even hear what he said.
those trucks, what they call a ladder frame, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So they're just front and the back is the exact same.
Yeah.
You can stand it up, climb it on a ladder.
Yeah.
So I just took that front end and stretched it. I didn't do it. Bird did it. We stretched it and slipped it up there, and we didn't even have to put it underneath the truck. We put
What?
it behind the bed, behind the cap, because it was the same as the front and the back.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh, well,
it's the
yeah,
same
yeah, well,
to
yeah.
mock it up, right?
Right.
So anyway, and I love that truck. It was crazy that I owned it. And then it was like so many other things, like you go, okay, it's time for somebody else to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And a guy named Johnny Junk bought it. Johnny Junk, I'm pretty sure that's who bought it. Did some other stuff to it, and then it went through a couple different owners. I really enjoyed it. It was fun for taking off the white disc on the freeway.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Oh my God,
Erase
dude.
those.
Oh,
right. Yeah.
You could.
Yeah.
I don't know how many Bird knocked off on the, like, because he took it to Good Guys one time. I drove it out to Good Guys, and it was super fun. I mean, I took 10 feet off the back of that truck when I got it too.
Oh wow.
It was even longer.
It was even longer.
It was even longer than
Really?
that. Yeah,
Wow.
we cut off 10 feet off the back of that.
Yeah.
And it may have been 8 feet, but it was, something like that. But,
Right.
But yeah, so, and then I see what they did, and that's just, I love it when you want to build a truck, but somebody builds it for you.
Right.
And
You're
makes
like,
your
wow.
dream. And you're like, well, all right, that's done. I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I mean, in those big trucks, I mean, they're so much fun, dude.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So
Well, now tell us about your square body that you brought out here.
I didn't bring a truck actually this year myself. A couple guys put some stuff in our booth.
Oh, okay.
So I couldn't. Unfortunately, this kind of came up at a little bit of a tough time, because I'm running a new bigger shop now, and I got about 55 employees, so it's a little bit more.
Right.
So it was just, the timing was just a little challenging, and then plus the get down. So both the trucks that I have, my Pro Street truck and my the S10 truck, Shift Speed, Travis has it over there at AZ Pro, and then they put my new big motor in it. And then Driven, Mikey, I don't know if you go,
Yeah.
Mikey, first of all, how cool is it when you get some work from him on there?
Right.
And the boys over there, Shift Speed, those guys did my partner, Switch, they're just super busy, so I couldn't get it done in time. So at that time, that's why. And then Robbie has my S10, and that's getting pretty close. But I still got some other cars. I was going to drive the panel out. So I
Right.
was like, all right, just take the panel.
Yeah.
Panel's all dialed in now.
Right.
Finally got it all
I was
dialed
gonna
in.
say, I don't think you can ever get rid of
Oh,
that.
God,
That's kind of now.
And it would
The
it
iconic.
would be so much fun to drive, because now it's got a new Scotch chassis.
Yeah.
It's all LS and AC and all that kind of crap. Well, we took it out to like a C-10 meet the other day. I was backing it up, and I guess I'm getting old, and I ran into the side of the wall of the house.
Oh no.
And I did it twice. So I just had it
Twice.
fixed. And the paint was literally like a week or two old.
Yeah.
I knocked it right off
Oh,
again.
no.
So I was like, okay, that didn't work. And we were thinking about, and we just got our truck back from Terry's OBS truck back
Yeah.
from TMI.
That's right.
Otherwise, we would have just brought it over here.
Yeah.
I was
So-
gonna say, yeah, it would have been close.
So it was just a little bit of a, we just had a bunch of stuff and so we just flew out today. I'd most generally drive out, just mob out here and drive back.
Right.
But, this doesn't get over till a little bit later, so we'd be getting home pretty soon.
Yeah.
Pretty late. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was pretty quick to get, do it this way. But,
Right.
And I didn't want to miss this. First of all, I'm humbled by this award that honestly, it kind of blew me away. And anytime you get something like this, that's a neat achievement. I'm one of those kind of guys. I like to give things. It's hard for me to get things. It sounds a little weird.
Yeah,
right.
You've always, as big as Dino, you're,
I always feel
humble.
awkward. I always feel
always
awkward about it. It always
humble.
makes me like, that type of thing. But at the same time, have people in your community that think something nicely about you like this is a big deal for me. So I didn't take that lightly. And when you get a chance to come out, and of course the weather's nice now, so we're back to car weather, right? So,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So if this was last weekend, it wouldn't have been.
No, it would have been nice. Yeah. It was 105 here last week.
Yeah. I like cars. I don't like them that much.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
You're like, I'm already in the heat in Phoenix.
Yeah,
I
I don't
don't
have
need
to fly to heat.
I always tell people too. I go, man, I don't want to go somewhere it's hotter than I'm coming from, man.
Yeah.
It's even worse. And humidity, like we're not a humidity.
It is a
So
little
you got-
different.
yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
it is.
As much as they say.
Yeah.
So, well, cool. Anything you want to mention, or
No, I
mean,
think-
obviously,
We know when
Dino's
they get down.
We know
Yeah.
we know what it is.
We know that is. Yep.
But if you want to plug that.
I'm
plug
pretty excited.
Chevy
Yeah,
only.
it's the 15th and 16th again. Of course, all you vendors, we appreciate it. It's an amazing. It's going to be a really, Terry calls it like an expo. So it's exciting that we have so many diverse vendors, right? And then we have, and then it works out clutch how it works out from SEMA. It's always worked out good that it was SEMA, then us, and then Good Guys. Good guys. So we're going to keep a lot of cars from SEMA,
Right.
and a lot of vendors.
People are
They'll
leaving
stay
there,
for-
kind of
they'll
leave
come over
from the East
Yeah.
Coast or something.
So
Maybe
we
they'll
try,
leave their
we
rigs
try
out
to
there.
we try to make that as much as we can to do
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff. We're excited about the event, and like I said, Terry honestly gets 100% of the credit because she is working her butt off. She'll take every phone call, receive every email,
Right.
almost to the point it worries me that I just have her. Poor girl. I'm like, you can't go with the dishes if you keep doing this. No, I'm just kidding you. Teasing. No, I'm just teasing.
that's when you got to start doing the dishes.
Yeah, I have really soft hands too. So it's not But the truth is, no, I'm really proud of her. She's really, she's just so kind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everybody, she's trying to try to do the best she can. And this year we're going to open up. A lot of vendors don't get swag and T-shirts, so this year we're going to open that up on Thursday.
Oh, that's
So
smart.
instead of being at your booth and I'm going to try to be more at the vendor booth where I get to meet all the vendors coming in. So we tried to do something that a little bit like Triple Crown did. We were going to rent the top deck at the venue and have a vendor appreciation night on
That's
Thursday
smart.
night.
That's real smart.
But the venue was challenging to get it done.
Wow.
And so after 7 months, we just couldn't get it done. We had to there's a part where you got to cut bait.
Yeah.
So maybe next year. So
Right.
we'll see.
Well, and that's what's kind of interesting too is like essentially Dino's Get Down started as a pre-party for Good Guys, and then you've got several pre-parties Thursday night going on.
Right,
that have gotten
right.
AMD did
If
a
not
really good, they
huge.
got a bunch of stuff going on through that whole first week, right?
Right.
a
That's
bunch
right,
of
yeah,
activity,
Wednesday or
Trade
something
Five,
too,
all this different stuff. So there's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of junk to do. Why, Speedway's got an open house and all kinds of junk like that. So that whole week's going to be really fun. I would feel bad for anybody that just went to SEMA.
I know, huh?
Yeah, like
You
us.
guys,
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, okay.
Well,
we
that's
gotta
what-
go
yeah.
back.
And even last year we were at SEMA while
See, look, are you leaving?
the chassis was in powder coat.
Yeah.
And then got it back after SEMA, put it together for the Beltex booth to
Right.
take it out to your show.
This was
so.
in between that week.
Yeah.
Like, it was nuts. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
the things
but
we
it's
do
just-
for cars.
But that's what it
It's-
is.
Yeah.
The things
Just had
we
a
do
good
for
time
cars,
with it.
which is really rad too. Like I said, it's one of those things that you push it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's neat to get the deadline done and all that kind of junk. So we got, like I said, we have people coming from all over. Last year we had a guy from Indonesia,
That's rad.
Oh,
the
wow.
nicest
cool.
dude on the planet. I still communicate with him.
Yeah.
Builds unbelievable. He built an unbelievable Camaro in Indonesia.
Okay.
I mean, like in a country that I couldn't imagine what it would take to source parts.
No,
Yeah.
it's,
Good luck.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's
They're riding
just-
mopeds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly right. Or animals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Right,
and
no, seriously.
No pun intended, but
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah.
saying it's just really and
Yeah.
you see his car and it's just diamond.
Yeah.
It was just super kind what you guys said. You guys have always
that's-
had my back, dude.
and
You
that's
guys-
and it was honest truth. I mean, I was at the time period of in the magazine world of and coming from the more you could say mini truck or full size market. Like you talk about the 6772 forums. I was on GM full size, Chevy truck full size for all the OBS and the 99 Nubia style.
This guy started a forum.
Yeah.
Well,
I
then
mean, he's
we had
straight up-
showtruckscene.com
yeah,
that we were
he's straight
doing.
up started
Oh, wow, I
that.
never
That
Right.
was
Yeah.
that was about 2004
Yeah,
to
you're a talented
2007.
dude, man. I mean, like I said, you guys have done a great job with this thing, and how cool is that? It's been 10 years, like
Right.
that.
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Well, us and Ronnie, like that's
Yeah.
what,
No, I was saying,
so
it was
like
at the
when we
same-
met
'cause it
Ronnie,
was-
Ronnie's like, "Hey, we're brand new." And
I do remember because it was Brothers was a week after I had left Street Trucks magazine,
Right.
and we were gonna like, all right, let's start this thing going. And Ronnie was like, "Oh, I'm gonna start with this, and maybe we could collab with the magazine, this and that." And I'm like, "I'm not in the magazine
Yeah.
anymore. I'm
dude,
doing this
he's
thing
a
though."
think tank, man.
Yeah.
Like he's like a chainsaw. Like,
So I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, we can do stuff. Let's do
Yeah.
some stuff." But
And that's what's been
It's
kind of
gonna be
funny.
different.
Like that, like our same trajectory has been like almost the same. Like just okay, this is the new direction. Here's where we're going, and
It's
we've had to
cool,
kind
man.
of support each other too at that because
Yeah, and that's
you know,
what
at
it
the
all
time
takes.
everyone's like, "You guys are quitting your magazine jobs? Like that's kind of dumb." And you're like, "Well, so is the
Well.
magazine thing right now." But it worked out for everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, I love the fact that there still is print around
I
because
do.
I was brought up on print. I want to still see something like that, but I understand the new guys are like, "Hey, man, this is just the new way we get information."
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, there's something about getting a magazine
Yeah.
and bringing it with you, or whatever you do with it. But it's at the same time, it's cool that I don't know, man. There's something
Yeah.
about having or seeing your truck in a print, or
there's more permanence to it.
yeah,
So
what I mean, or you have
it
your
is.
stack and
Right.
whatever, and
Yeah.
and I like to see, for me, honestly, I like to see people do well. I've always
Yeah.
been a
Yeah.
guy who likes to see people do well.
Right.
Some people don't enjoy that part. I do. I've always been that guy. I like that part of it, and that's really,
No, and that's I'm sure too for you, like saying, not seeing the show or seeing some guys that maybe were a vendor at one of the first shows
yeah, man.
that
I
were
mean,
just
Yeah.
setting up a blue
Yeah.
easy up and
Yeah.
how about
card
Raul,
table
C-10 era.
era.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
He started about
called-
the same time as well.
He called
Yeah.
me out one day and said, "Hey, man, I'd like to pick your brain a little bit about how you do this." And I was like, "Well, here's how we do it. Come out, blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
I mean, there's been so much fun stuff started around even Joe and all those guys, and all those. Now he didn't need any help from me because Joe's a machine, but at the same time, we all these are the get down.
Yeah.
Spawned a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Or this apparel, and everybody's done really well. And the nice
yeah.
part is we all support each other.
I know.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like we all, it's about time I get some more shirts because all I'm wearing is these damn things. That says the get down. I need some more square body shirts. I need some more shirts.
Yeah.
So you guys
I
send
was
me
saying,
some
it was
shirts.
too bad we didn't bring any shirts.
I
with
know.
us.
Yeah. I mean,
Otherwise-
and
I
I
know.
try to
We're all
rock.
guilty
I
as
try to
charged.
rock. I try to rock all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and that's and,
You're like, all right, today's C10 day.
Well, no,
today's
and-
Tray 5 day.
But no, that's
today's-
same happened to me
Square body
last
day.
year. I grabbed it. I had a shirt because I was there on Thursday. I had a shirt, and a guy showed up that was from some other at the Beltec booth, and he's all bummed out. Oh, they're out of shirts, and I'm like, the
How
guy goes,
cool is that?
And the guy's like, why? And I'm like, because I can call Dino.
Yeah.
Because I can dude, you're from where?
Yeah, you were looking forward.
Yeah,
I mean,
like you came
were
to buy a
really-
shirt, so
I like that
Was
too.
into
And
that.
I really like. I mean, those are cool stories too. Like I said, the last thing you ever want to do is run out of T-shirts, and it's hard to gauge because
Yeah.
we did
You don't
30 more
know.
last year.
Yeah.
30% more. 30% more.
Right.
If
And
I
he's-
ever told you my apparel number, you'd be like,
no,
Oh, I know, I
no,
can
just
imagine.
watching your lines.
We've seen the line
Yeah.
at the
there was
apparel
never
booth.
a time ever. The very first time I ever did the apparel, we bought $400 worth of T-shirts.
Right.
I
'Cause
was
you didn't
like-
know.
And I was like,
Yeah.
holy smokes, that's
Yeah,
a
like
lot.
you're putting, I'm putting out a
Yeah.
lot of money for
Yeah.
this.
This is a
Yeah.
lot of shirts. man.
Right.
And then after that number's just
That's
got-
probably about like
Right.
100 shirts or something too. Or
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
right.
exactly.
If
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I use a U-Haul to bring it out.
I know,
in a
right?
Trailer,
Yeah.
and it's like,
Yeah.
so
And-
it's exciting.
No, that's
all
cool.
this stuff is exciting, and like I said, I appreciate you guys letting me get on here today.
Yeah, no, thanks
and,
for stopping.
of course, I can talk. I'll yap your ears
Ah.
out. You know what I mean?
We could do the same
Yeah.
too. So.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I know.
so go November 15th, 16th this
15th,
year.
16th.
Right.
Yeah.
Glendale, Arizona, out at the stadium out there. So go check out Dino's Get Down.
Yeah.
What year is this one?
The 14th.
14. Okay.
14.
14th, and which is crazy because I remember, like, I'm that old guy that said, "Hey kids, it goes by fast, enjoy it." And now look at look
Now
at you,
you've been
10
doing
years
it.
in.
Yeah, right.
The
10
show's
years in.
14 years in.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
It's been
Well,
crazy.
good deal.
So yeah.
Listen, congratulations,
Yeah.
you guys.
Hey, thank you.
No,
All
thank
the
you.
best.
Congratulations on Trendsetter of the Year here
Yeah.
at
man,
the
that's a
Grand
big
National
deal.
Truck Show.
Right.
That's a big
So
deal.
And we're
definitely come check us out. We'll be out there probably in the Beltec booth, but
Yeah,
and
yeah.
come say hi to Dino when you're driving into the truck show.
Oh
Right.
my God, yes, please. And then anything you guys need from me, let me know for sure.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bless.
Thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you guys
Pleasure.
again. So
Thank
cool.
you. All right.